Let's hop back into in San Francisco, right? And then when did you shoot your first scene, or how did you who did you know? Was it did you film like a statement? You're like, damn, this is kind of or like how did?
Nah. So it's kind of a. So while I was man-holding it up in San Francisco, a lot of the women were just like, hey, you're pretty good at this whole thing, right? And so I started asking. I asked one person I was performing. I was having sex with at the time, and I asked her like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Because a lot of women are saying that I'm pretty good at this, and she's like, "Oh yeah, no, you're totally good at this. You have a big dick, you can fuck, right?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, my ex is an Asian dude, and he's doing porn." And I was like, "What?" And it turns out they dated way before he got into the industry, before he did porn and so forth. But her ex was Jeremy Long, and so. So she got me in touch with him. We kind of emailed each other back and forth, and he kind of just broke down how they do their productions on their side, and that was the moment that I was like, oh shit, like that's kind of the pulling back the curtain, kind of showing you like, oh, it's not magic, and here's how it kind of works, and that got me going like, I could probably start to do my own productions and so forth. And then, so that's what got me started to like, how do I get into porn? And then the official first time I shot was I matched with some girls on Tinder who were looking for a stunt cock pretty much. They were shooting amateur stuff for this like website, it's like freelunchmoney.com or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had a custom request that they needed a dude, they needed a guy for. So they were looking for somebody on Tinder. They matched with me, we responded. They were like, hey, come out with us, let's vibe it out and see if you're like, you know, cool to work with.
Guy,
yeah. So we went out, got dinner, everything was cool, we got along, and then they were like, you know, come over this weekend and let's shoot this thing. So I went over that weekend, we shot porn for this custom video they were working on. I thought I was just there to shoot porn. They gave me $30 afterwards. That was my share of the cut, and that was it. That was the first time I got paid to have sex. Like, there we go.
$30. Wow.
So that was my first time I got paid to make porn. Like,
hey man, everybody starts somewhere.
Exactly.
You know?
Like
$30. Shit. I mean, my first YouTube check was $2.
Right.
You know. So at that point, you felt comfortable with like shooting something and having it be on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, well, that part was just more comfortable. Like, I can go somewhere and shoot something with random, like, not complete strangers, but pretty much like people I just really met and get filmed and so forth. Like, the mechanics of it all work. You know what I mean?
And was there no awkwardness? Was there like still a little bit of because when you do something, I feel like when you do something new sexually, right? Especially with other people, it could be very daunting. It could be very just awkward.
Sure. Honestly, I think it was the right amount of nervousness. It was like you know the nervous energy, right? There's like good nervous energy, and then there's like overload nervous energy.
Right.
And like I had that good level of nervousness where it's like I'm excited and nervous, and then because of that, everything was working really well. Okay. Where if I went overboard, like was super nervous, everything probably would have shut down. You know what I mean?
Right. So at this point, were you thinking about like, oh, yo, like, what if my friends see this? What if my mom see this? What if my
I zero fucks given, right? Like, honestly, like number one is like, oh, okay, if my friends see this, like, well, why would I care if my friends see this? Because you know, the main thing being like, so now you guys see my dick, like it's not
the first time,
right? It's not, like, I don't feel like, you know,
like they've seen my shit, you know.
And with my parents, I actually told them I was gonna do all of this before I ever did it, just really? Because when I had the idea that like, hey, when I had the idea and the opportunity to do this, it was like, by the point I was actually making steps into this, Jeremy Long had left the scene, and
there was nobody here.
Exactly, there was a complete open lane, right? Yeah. But because it was a complete open lane, I'm also 100% aware, like, I can't just hide in like a sea of Asian dicks like other dudes and just be like, oh, that wasn't me. Like, that's very obviously me, right?
Yeah.
So, and I have cousins and all this other stuff. So it's like, word may spread around the family reunion if I don't get in front of this first, because I don't want to not do what I want to do because I'm worried about what they may find out. So let's just nip this in the bud and let's just go out there. I called my parents. We had this conversation.
Are you Chinese, Vietnamese?
We're from Taiwan, so Taiwan. Yeah.
Oh. 妈妈，我给你告诉你一个。
妈妈，爸爸，我们需要说话一点的So I called them and then it was like, hey, we need to have this conversation. And I mean, we should have this conversation in person, because if I can't like talk to you in person, I shouldn't be doing this in the first place, right? If I'm not mature enough to have this discussion, then I'm just obviously not mature enough to even go down this path. So, you know, they're like, okay, you know, come over for the weekend, mom will cook lunch and we'll have this conversation and so forth. I get home, you know, and, you know, they're like, sit down, let's got, you know, food and so forth.
Was there tension? Were they like, oh, I know, my son gonna tell me some shit?
No, I mean, there was, just because like they knew I wanted to talk to them about something, and we don't have that relationship where I do this often. So it's like, yo, if he's actually reaching out and says that there's something we need to talk about, it's something, because, you know, I'm a very independent person. I don't call them for anything, really, right? So there was that tension when I got to the house, because they weren't sure if it's good, bad, this, that, something serious, how, like, whatever's. But they were just like, you know, sit, eat, let's talk. And so they're kind of like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off real quick, right? Let's just make this real simple. And I just came out, I was like,
well, did you do that, huh?
So pretty much just like, I have an opportunity to shoot porn, to do porn, to go into the porn industry and just make porn. And realistically, I'm gonna take it. It's not a maybe, it's a I am going to do this.
Word.
I'm not doing it right now at this very moment.
Word.
But I am gonna do this. I'm gonna go down this path. Word. So if you hear something about it in the family reunions and so forth, you hear rumors and so forth, they're probably true. I just wanted to tell you guys first, you know, before anything else, because again, like I said, if I'm not mature enough to tell you guys to your face as an adult, I really shouldn't be doing this in the first place, right? My dad's initial response, his initial reaction was a sort of like oh, okay, thank God you're not gay. Like, that was his that was his concern, apparently. And then afterwards, you know, the Asian parent response, the second response is, how much money are you gonna make? Right? Because how much money you're gonna make determines whether or not you're making the right choice or not, right? So we had a conversation, we had a discussion, and just kind of talking about, it's like, I might not be making a lot of money right off the bat, but the earning potential for me is much higher for me doing this.
When was this? 2017? Because I want to gauge like the economy too.
I want to say around like 2017, 18-ish.
Okay.
It's probably when we had this conversation. Okay. And then again, it still took a little while for me to get there, because just the way I entered the industry, the entire way I came about it was really trying to be independent, self-producing, just try not to have my fate in the hands of other people the entire time. You know what I mean? But yeah, during that time was just, you know, telling them, it's like, I got this good paying, I got a pretty decent paying corporate job, but the earning potential, because, you know, at my job, like, I'm limited. My growth is limited to what the people above me think I deserve. Not what I actually do, not the effort I put in, not how hard I work. It's just purely like, do the upper
salary,
management
work these hours.
Right. Do the management above think I deserve to have a happier life? If they don't, then I don't, right? So that was kind of like me explaining to them, it's like, look, I want to eventually start my own business at a certain point, this and so forth. I need to take control of my own life, my own destiny, my own freedom. And this is the best opportunity, given the skills, the things to have, and the market and so forth. And at this point in my life, you know, like, I'm already like in my early 30s. So, you know, it's not like I was doing this because I had no other option in life, and sex work is the only way I could survive. My parents at this point were like, you've proven that you're able to survive and handle your own no matter what you're doing. You've proven at this point that you have a pretty good head on your shoulders, that you, even if we don't understand what your plan is, you have a plan and you're pretty good at carrying it out. We really can't tell you no at this point.
So it was a very like logistical or very logical response.
Like,
it wasn't like, like disappointment.
I mean, after everything I had already gone through with my family at this point, there was a whole falling out, coming back together, this and so forth. Because of all of that, when this finally occurred, they were at the point to be like, you know what? The only thing we can really do is love you and support you.
Oh, fuck.
Like, and that's kind of where we're at. So out of respect, I just don't bring up work to them, you know what I mean? Because it's like, what, like even if I brought it up, and even if they were proud of it, it's like, I can't talk more detail about this, you know what I mean? So out of just respect, like, we just don't talk about it, but they still call in, and occasionally, once in a while, I'll get some random call from my dad, just be like, whatever you're doing, I just let you know, we love you and we're proud of you. And I was like, thank you, Dad, appreciate it so much.
You know, you'd rather hear it from the dad, you know, like, hey,
exactly, right?
Job,
like my mom, my mom calls me to check in all the time, but my dad, like, yo, that means a lot, really, you know?
Oh man.